There's a photo on the wall from your childhood. Your older sibling is front and center. Your younger sibling is being held, adored, the baby everyone couldn't stop fussing over, and you're somewhere in between, present but unnoticed. There, but not really seen. No one meant to forget you. That's what makes it worse. Your older sibling was the first, the experiment. The one who got all the attention because everything they did was new and documented and celebrated. Your younger sibling was the baby, the last one, the one who got coddled and protected and never had to fight for a place at the table. And you were just ... there, the bridge between two worlds. Not special enough to be the first, not precious enough to be the last. Just the one in the middle who learned very early that your job was to not need too much. You learned to be easy, low maintenance, the one who didn't cause problems, because the attention was already divided and asking for more felt selfish. So you stopped asking, you stopped expecting, you stopped believing that you mattered enough to be seen. This isn't about blame. It's about what happens to a child who grows up feeling optional, who learns that love is a resource that runs out before it gets to them, who becomes an adult that doesn't know how to take up space because space was never theirs to claim. Let's begin. You became invisible without anyone noticing, not because you were ignored on purpose, but because the attention was always urgently needed somewhere else. Your older sibling was achieving, getting awards, breaking rules, demanding guidance. They took up space because they were the prototype, the test run, the one your parents were still figuring out how to raise. Your younger sibling was needing, crying, falling, requiring constant care and protection because they were small and helpless and vulnerable. And you were neither. You weren't old enough to be independent, but you weren't young enough to need the same level of care. So you learned to need less, to ask for less, to be less of a burden. You taught yourself to tie your shoes because no one had time to show you. You figured out your homework alone because help was already being given to someone else. You solved your own problems because bringing them to your parents meant adding to a pile that already felt too heavy. And everyone praised you for it. You're so independent. You're so easy. You never complain. They didn't realize what those words actually meant. You've learned that your needs don't matter as much, that you're not worth the same investment, that your role is to make everyone else's life easier by requiring nothing. You became small, quiet, convenient, and no one noticed you were disappearing. Here's the thing no one tells you about being the middle child. You didn't just feel less important. You felt conditional. Your older sibling was permanent, the favorite by default because they came first. Everything they did mattered because it was precedent setting. Your younger sibling was protected, the favorite by default because they were vulnerable. Everything they needed was urgent because they were small. But your place felt earned, temporary, like you had to justify your existence every single day. You weren't special by position. You were just ... there, and being there meant you could also not be there. And would anyone even notice? So you tested it. Not consciously, but you pulled back, stopped sharing, stopped participating, stopped showing up in the ways you used. To end the devastating part, it took longer than it should have for anyone to ask what was wrong. Because your absence didn't disrupt anything. Your silence didn't raise alarms. Your withdrawal just made you more of what you'd always been, easy. You learned that love in your family wasn't equally distributed. It went to the loudest need, the biggest milestone, the squeakiest wheel. And you weren't squeaky. You were the well-oiled machine that kept running quietly in the background while everyone focused on the parts that demanded attention. You weren't unloved, but you were optional. And optional feels a lot like unloved when you're a child who doesn't understand why you're not enough to be. Chosen without having to fight for it, you became the emotional center, the mediator, the one who kept everyone calm when things got tense. Not because you wanted that role, but because someone had to do it and you were the only one without a more important job. Your older sibling could throw tantrums, push boundaries, rebel. They had the privilege of being difficult because they were the first, and everything they did mattered. Your younger sibling could melt down, demand comfort, be needy. They had the privilege of being fragile because they were the baby, and protecting them was non-negotiable. But you had to hold it together. You smoothed over fights between your siblings. You comforted your parents when they were stressed. You read the room and adjusted your behavior to keep the peace. You learned that your feelings were secondary to the family's equilibrium, that your anger was inconvenient, that your sadness was a burden, that your needs disrupted the fragile balance everyone else depended on. So you swallowed it all, the hurt, the resentment, the loneliness of being the only one responsible for everyone else's emotional regulation while no one regulated yours. And now, as an adult, you don't know how to not be that person. You're still the mediator, still the one who makes yourself small so others can be big, still the one who sacrifices your own needs to keep everyone comfortable, because that's the only version of love you were taught, the kind where you earn your place by being useful, by being easy, by never asking for too much. You're an adult now. You've built your own life, your own identity, your own relationships. But that middle child feeling never really left, did it? You still minimize your accomplishments, still downplay your needs, still feel like you're taking up too much space when you talk about yourself for more than a few minutes. You still struggle to believe that people want to hear from you, that your presence matters, that you're not just tolerated, but actually valued. Because deep down, you're still that kid waiting to be noticed, waiting for someone to choose you. First, waiting for proof that you matter without having to earn it, and it shows up everywhere. In relationships where you overfunction and under-ask, where you give everything and feel guilty for needing anything back. In friendships where you're always available, but never the first person people call when something good happens. In your career, where you work twice as hard for half the recognition because being overlooked feels normal. You've spent your whole life being the bridge, the background, the optional one. And now you don't know how to be anything else. You don't know how to take up space without apologizing, how to ask for what you need without feeling selfish, how to believe that you're worth choosing, not because you're easy or useful or convenient, but because you're you. The middle child wound doesn't heal just because you grow up. It follows you, shapes you, becomes the lens through which you see every relationship. And until you name it, until you grieve it, you'll keep proving your worth to people who should have seen it all along. You deserve to be seen, not as the easy one, not as the bridge between your siblings, not as the child who didn't need as much. You deserve to be seen as a whole person, with needs, with feelings, with a right to take up space without having to justify it. You deserve parents who noticed when you went quiet, who asked what was wrong instead of being relieved you weren't causing problems. You deserve to have your milestones celebrated with the same enthusiasm as your siblings, to have your struggles taken as seriously, to have your presence valued as much as theirs. You deserve to know that you weren't loved because you were easy. You were loved because you existed, period. But you didn't get that, and you can't go back and change it. What you can do is stop punishing yourself for being too much when you were never too much. You were just asking for what every child deserves: to be seen, to be heard, to matter. You can stop making yourself small to fit into spaces that should have expanded for you. You can stop earning love from people who should give it freely. You can stop being the forgotten middle child in your own life because you're not in the middle anymore. You're not competing for scraps of attention. You're not optional. You're whole. You're worthy. You're enough, and you always were. If this landed differently than you expected, if you recognized yourself in ways that hurt, you're not alone. Being the middle child leaves marks that don't show in family photos. This is a space where those marks are seen. If you'd like to stay, consider subscribing. And if you want to share what it felt like to be forgotten, to be easy, to be the one in between, the comments are yours. Thank you for being here. You are always worth noticing, even when no one did.